so grateful to be here and to share some of our experiences from our global nonprofit employment organization. And they're very hard-earned stories, and I hope that they will help some of you in your transformations or along your journey. Today, I'm going to specifically talk about reskilling, but first, I want you to see a video to get a sense of what's Generation all about and what does our nonprofit do. So let's watch.
Cuando salí de la carrera, la crisis estaba a tope y los trabajos que había eran muy reducidos. Vas, currículum en mano, pues yo en ese sector tengo paro, vale, pero es que los demás también lo tienen. Los años iban pasando, pero la situación no avanzaba.
Mi misión era construir un departamento de cero. Tenía que generar de la nada a técnicos cualificados en RPA. Entonces, bueno, ¿qué tengo que hacer para atraer el talento en un tiempo récord y tener a las mejores personas posibles dentro del área? Entonces me plantearon esta iniciativa de Generation.
Me llegó un mensaje al móvil de que había un curso de RPA. Yo no sabía lo que era el RPA, pero yo me apunté.
Ha habido muchas cosas en las que Generation nos han ayudado. Buscar los mejores candidatos posibles, a montar toda la infraestructura de la formación. Consistía pues, muchas veces en trabajo de equipo. Y esto es lo que verdaderamente me permitió pasar de 0 a 200 kilómetros por hora en nada.
Me acuerdo cuando me llamaron y me dieron la noticia que cambió mi vida. Grité.
Casi todo el departamento fue obtenido a través del programa Generation.
Si yo hubiese podido soñar con algo, esto lo hubiera superado.
En 2 meses hemos montado el que yo digo que es el mejor equipo de trabajo RPA del mundo.
So, what is Generation? So our mission is twofold. We want to provide a career-launching job for learners, and we also want to get employers the motivated, skilled talent that they need to be successful. And so, why did we start Generation? Here, I'll tell you a little bit about our journey. So in 2013, McKinsey & Company did a study called Education to Employment, really looking at the skills gap. Why were there so many young people who were unemployed or underemployed? And why, at the same time, were there so many employers who couldn't find talent? So there were exactly 75 million young people at the time that were unemployed, 3 times as many underemployed. And there were 40% of employers saying, we can't find talent. And so through research of what's working in the education to employment space came Generation, which is a completely separate nonprofit, but founded by McKinsey and founded by their years of research. We started in 5 countries: Kenya, Mexico, Spain, US, and India. And some people say, how'd you figure that out? I feel like you closed your eyes. Did you just throw darts at a map? They're so different. Their populations are so different. Their needs are so different. But the reason why we did that was because we wanted to test a methodology. We didn't just want to be a training program. We wanted to say, okay, can this comprehensive approach to closing the skills gap work across a lot of different contexts? And so today, we're across 13 countries. We added Italy, Hong Kong, Pakistan, Singapore, Australia, UK, France, and Brazil, and are continuing to learn. And what we found was, in the employment space, there were great opportunities for mentorship. There were opportunities for training. There were opportunities for skills assessment, certification. But could we put it all together? So we have a 7-step methodology, which starts with securing job vacancies from the start, having an approach to recruiting learners, and then, this is what I do. I lead the talented team of educators who develops our curriculum materials for our training programs and our instructor support strategy across 4 sectors and 26 professions globally. And while I think that we're pretty special, I'm I know that just training alone wouldn't do it. We also ensure that we can place learners in right fit jobs, and that there's those mentorship supports that help to overcome barriers to employment. And it's not just about the skills development training. And then we measure the return on investment for employers. What do the learners need to demonstrate day one on the job and beyond in order to bring value to you? And then we're obsessed with data. We ensure that we're tracking results and we're really learning what is successful and how can we continuously improve. Now, you might say, what kinds of lessons can this bring to your work? So we do 3 different types of things at Generation. One, we deliver our programs. So we have amazing teams across all of our countries who recruit instructors, who recruit learners, who have these training programs in healthcare, in tech, in IT, in manufacturing. And we find coalitions of employers, and we train them and we place them. We also have a partner-enabled model, meaning that some community-based organizations or industry aggregators will come and say, let us lead one of these 7 components. So they help us to deliver the program. Maybe they're a training service provider supporting us with instructors. Then we have the employer-embedded model that we'll talk about today, which is when learning leaders and others in an organization say, hey, why don't you come and help us to embed this 7-step methodology in our organization? Either because you all want more new talent for jobs, or to reskill current talent. Now let's talk about one particular program. So you met an employer from Prosegur in Spain, and that was for a robotics process automation role within our technology sector. Now we had an employer come to us and say, hey, I have this new business line, but I don't want to get my talent from the outside. Can we take our talent internally, and can we embed this program, RPA, within this company? And they really were thinking quite well about it. They said, we have call center agents, and we have a good group of them who I know would be very committed to be reskilled into robotics process automation and to really help our clients see how can they automate. And so what we did was we piloted across 2 cohorts, 46 employees, and majority female, and tech roles in some countries, not majority female. And then ages 30 to 50. When you saw our mission statement, it said youth unemployment or young people. And we've been around for 5 years, our birthday's coming up. And we now are also expanding our learner profile because we're seeing the needs of the 55+ population as well that might be displaced from their jobs due to automation, and how can we help to secure new jobs. And so these folks that they brought on had 6 to 12 years of experience in the company and really had a desire to make a change. And so we embedded this program, and it was incredibly successful. Atento is the organization, and it's all in Spanish, but on their LinkedIn page, they talked about their experience that they're quite proud of and they're going to continue to do. And so this leads us to thinking through what are some things that we've learned along the way for reskilling. So reskilling requires a deep understanding of the role. I'm going to take some time on this slide to kind of go through parts of our methodology. So one thing that my team does that's really, truly the coolest part of our job is we do something that's called activity mapping. When we know that there's a new role, whether it be a call center agent, a certified nurse assistant, or a construction helper, or a machine operator. We will go and shadow those employees for days on end. We will distill all of their job activities that go well beyond the job description, and we'll see what are the behavioral skills, technical skills, and mindsets necessary to be successful in the job. And then we will create a comprehensive training program that gets at the behavioral skills and mindsets, and also a lot of practice. We believe in repeated and varied practice leads to muscle memory, which leads to transfer on the job. And so our boot camps, that we call them, short intensive training programs, they'll be 4 to 12 weeks in length, depending on the technicality of the role. We will have these very experiential, interactive experiences that are very specific to what is really hard about this job. Our whole point of shadowing and interviewing is to understand what are the breakdown moments. Why do our target profile, whether it be young people, whatever it is, why do they fail in this role? Why do they quit? Why do they get fired? And we figure that out through interviewing, through focus groups of high performers, low performers, interviewing managers. And once we deeply understand the role, we can develop a tailored training program that's for that role. Not just for some of the skills that they might use, but really focusing on the breakdown moments of that role. And I know sometimes there's what's called a skills mapping, which is really trying to analyze job descriptions. But this is really looking at the activities on the job, which we find quite successful. Then it also requires a deep understanding of the workforce. What are those barriers to employment or this particular role? And what do we need to do about it? Community support in organizations, mentorship. What is it that might be problematic, and how can we help those that will be entering into this role? And another one is challenging the preconceived ideal profile of the role. And this is a tricky one. A lot of times, especially as I mentioned before in tech roles, there's a notion that in some countries that it's non-minority males mainly in certain tech roles. So how are we changing the way that talent is viewed? And it's hard. And little by little, how are we getting to seeing that there should be more of a diverse workforce within a particular role? And this gets to the comprehensive solution. So not just one training program, not just mentorship, but really taking a look at how can we put all of those pieces together to create a comprehensive solution that's role-specific and focused on the learner. So I would love to talk more about this because this is a really favorite topic of mine, but I will leave us here. And please connect Kelly@generation.org, and I'm happy to talk with any of you and share more stories. So thanks so much.